CBS News Miami.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Naja Sherman, and welcome to CBS News Miami's 4 p.m. Quickcast. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Off the top, a sighting of a large animal in Miami. Chopper 4 over the scene. This is along Southwest 132nd Street and 102nd Avenue. You can see police and Florida wildlife officials in the area. We're going to have more information on this story tonight at 5. A dangerous drive. The driver of a dump truck lost control, plunging into the water. This happened along the 400 block of Southwest 7th Avenue. You can see the truck partially submerged in the canal. One person was removed from the vehicle. No word yet on if anyone was hurt in that crash. Calls for accountability inside the Broward Sheriff's Office. It is from a local civil rights organization and the Broward County Public Defender. CBS News Miami's Joan Murray explains.
I'm Joan Murray at the Broward County Jail. We have been telling you about the NAACP asking the Federal Department of Justice to look into what's going on in the jail. And today, the NAACP's Broward representative, along with Broward's chief public defender, had a news conference to talk about this very issue. Now, they both claim that 21 inmates have passed away since 2019. They claim that that is a high number of inmates to be dying. Now, at the news conference were family members of 4 inmates who have passed away in a little over a month's time. And here is what one family member had to say about their loss.
He wanted to make something of himself. I talk to my brother all the time, and this is what he says. So for them to tell me that he committed suicide is not believable at all. They told me I had to post a bond if I didn't want any officers there. They didn't have anybody surveilling him in the jail, but they had like 2 to 4 deputies there in the hospital. If he's brain dead, how are you looking after him now?
Now, I spoke with BSO, and they say they are following best practices. They say that a lot of these cases are still under investigation. We'll have a complete report coming up on CBS Miami at 5. Reporting.
Always alerting, always tracking. This is Next Weather.
And taking a live look outside, a beautiful day across South Florida. You may have noticed more clouds today. Let's get right to Next Weather meteorologist Cindy Pressler. So, how does the first day of the new month shape up?
Yeah, happy February, and
Yes.
You're right, a little bit more cloud cover today, and it's having an effect on the temperature. We haven't really made it past 72 degrees yet with a northeasterly wind. A little bit more moisture in the atmosphere, but certainly a nice overall dry day. We're being driven by this ridge of high pressure sitting up here around New Orleans, Pensacola. That's sending us a northeasterly flow. Still dry air continues to settle right over South Florida, so beautiful this evening. We're expecting temperatures to be nice and mild tonight, so a few clouds running from west to east, so aloft we've got a westerly flow. They're not going to bring any rain in here, not enough moisture being carried with them, so we're going to stay dry at least for now. By the way, the clouds are important because tomorrow's Groundhog Day. So the legend goes like this: if the groundhog comes out of his burrow tomorrow morning and he sees his shadow, that would mean 6 more weeks of winter, right? If he does not see his shadow, that would mean an early spring. So if we had a groundhog here over South Florida, would he see his shadow? Doesn't look like it. We've got cloudy skies out here tomorrow morning, so that would mean an early spring for us in any case. It doesn't have anything to do with what the groundhog says or sees or whatever, but it's nice to know that spring might be coming early, at least to our area. Now, Punxsutawney Phil to the north in Pennsylvania, we'll have to see. We're expecting mostly cloudy skies there, but again, we'll have to see what he prognosticates tomorrow morning. High pressure is eventually going to make its way off to the east. That will be happening over the next couple of days, dry and mild until then, with our temperatures a little bit below average. But look what starts to happen here as we get into the weekend. Saturday, here comes a strong storm system. That's the one that's been out on the west coast. It will develop an area of low pressure along in the northern Gulf. Warm front first. That'll start bringing in moisture on Sunday afternoon. A chance for some storms. We'll have to watch this closely. Could see strong storms out of this. And then again, a chance for showers on Monday, since another front wants to slide through. That will bring windy conditions as we head into next week. And I'm talking gusts up to 35 miles per hour. Not much rain, though. It's expected this weekend, maybe up to 1/4 of an inch. So I think the heavier rain will stay to the north. So Saturday, great day. Make your plans, outdoor plans that day, because Sunday looks like we're going to see quite a bit of rain on that day. Here's your forecast. Highs tomorrow going up 78 degrees, Saturday 79, backing off, and then next week a little bit cooler, but we go back into that drier regime.
Looking forward to a beautiful Saturday. Thank you, Cindy. Courtney Clenney, the former Onlyfans model, wrapping up in court today. CBS News Miami's Peter Dinch has the breakdown.
Among brand new developments in this case, former Onlyfans model Courtney Clenney was in court for a hearing. She learned that additional charges were being filed against her parents, Kim and Deborah Clenney, for allegedly hacking a laptop belonging to her boyfriend, Christian Obunselli, who she is accused of stabbing to death. The state is also trying to restrict public comments from the defense in public about this case. We'll have much more about that part of this story coming up at 5 and 6 tonight on CBS News Miami. At the Metro Justice Building, Peter Dinch, CBS News Miami.
A bicyclist is dead following a crash in Fort Lauderdale. Chopper 4 over the scene this morning. This is in the area of Southwest 7th Avenue and 4th Street. Roads were shut down but have since reopened. Police tell us a man was hit by a car and died at the scene. The driver returned to the scene of the crash. New details into a fire at an OpaLocka laundry business. Linens and more went up in flames late last night, but this could have been so much worse. It happened just before midnight along Northwest 42nd Avenue. Here you can see linen burnt to a crisp. One room was left black from smoke, but the room next to it was spared from a lot of the damage, and that is the room that holds the machinery essential for business operation.
Thank God the machines don't have any issues, but we still have to fix and figure out the electricity situation and obtain the insurance all over again.
They are hoping to get the business back up and running within the next 2 weeks. No injuries reported. An investigation is underway to determine the cause of that fire. When we come back, a bipartisan tax bill passes the House. What this could mean for millions of families. Stay with us.
Think living down here is unaffordable? You're not alone.
It's insane. It's nuts.
I'm Joe Gorcho, and I'll show you how some people are going to great lengths to make ends meet and what you can do to stash some cash tonight at 5:30.
Welcome back to CBS News Miami's 4 p.m. Quickcast. Now at 4, Governor Ron DeSantis announced up to 1,000 Florida National Guard soldiers and members of the Florida State Guard are heading to the U.S. Mexico border. These deployments are in addition to the more than 90 officers from the Florida Highway Patrol, Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation, and the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. The governor made the announcement earlier today in Jacksonville.
We have stepped up probably more than any other state has stepped up, and we're proud to do that. However, we don't think this is enough. I believe that a state has a right to fortify its own borders. And so if Texas is helping to erect barriers, putting up razor wire, doing other things to keep illegal aliens out, I want to be helpful with them doing that. I don't want to be part of the federal government trying to tear down these barriers and let more people in illegally. This is crazy.
DeSantis says the soldiers are heading to Texas. It is to help in securing the southern border. The soldiers will be deployed based on the needs of the state. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin is holding his first news conference since his hospitalization. He discussed the attack in Jordan that left 3 U.S. soldiers dead. He also addressed what happened when he went to the hospital because of prostate cancer.
I never directed anyone to keep my January hospitalization from the White House. On January 5th, I resumed my functions and duties as secretary from the hospital. I was functioning well mentally, but not so well physically, And so I stayed at Walter Reed for additional time, for additional treatment, including physical therapy for some lingering issues with my leg. Now, I'm offering all of this as an explanation and not an excuse.
The secretary also told about the time and wanted to remind everyone, especially men everywhere, to make sure that they get screened for prostate cancer. A $78 billion tax cut package is headed to the Senate, and that's after passing in the House late last night with bipartisan support. The measure would boost the child tax credit and reinstate some business deductions. CBS News Miami's Natalie Brand has all the information from Capitol Hill.
The yeas are 357, the nays are 70.
It's an issue that brought together Republicans and Democrats as the U.S. House overwhelmingly passed a $78 billion tax cut package that aims to help U.S. families, children, and businesses.
You know, I've been told that a half a loaf is better than none, but this isn't even a half a loaf. But I'm going to vote for it because our families and businesses need help.
While not as generous as what was passed during the pandemic, the bill boosts the refundable part of the child tax credit from $1,600 to up to $2,000 by 2025. It would also reinstate some business deductions, including those connected to research and development.
Each of these policies will help American businesses grow, create jobs, and sharpen their competitive advantage against China.
This is obviously a very rare but nice bipartisan effort to see.
John Buell of the Nonpartisan Tax Policy Center estimates all eligible households would see an average tax cut of around $680 if the Senate passes it by the April tax deadline.
As you know, people very often live paycheck to paycheck. So for people who are lower income, who have multiple kids, those are the people who are probably going to see the biggest benefits from this.
He says taxpayers who file early could still amend their filing if the bill gets to the president's desk. Some Senate Republicans have expressed reservations. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Washington.
That's your Quickcast. I'm Naja Sherman. Thank you for joining us and have a wonderful day.